Myanmar junta extends ceasefire until 30th April. And 20 people feared killed as suspected militants opened fire on tourists in Kashmir. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Brendan Lepal. You're watching World Today. Cooperation in the halal industry, fisheries, higher education, and the issue of Gaza, Palestine were among the matters discussed during Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's courtesy call on President Prabowo Subianto in Jakarta on Tuesday. Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said both countries had in principle agreed that the halal logo of the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, could be used for halal products exported to Indonesia without requiring a new standard operating procedure. He added Malaysia will also recognise Indonesia's halal certification for products exported to Malaysia. The Deputy Prime Minister emphasised this is a game changer that must be appreciated due to the commitment shown by industry players, especially as it received endorsement from the Indonesian Minister of Religious Affairs and during his discussion with Vice President Gibran Rakabuming Raka. Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid was speaking to the media after paying a courtesy call on Prabowo, which lasted about an hour and 45 minutes at the Merdeka Palace. He noted that both nations will drive inclusive growth and create complementary value for the respective halal economies by aligning Malaysia's Halal Industry Master Plan 2030, HIMP 2030, and Indonesia's Halal Economy Roadmap. The discussion also aimed to strengthen ASEAN-wide halal cooperation, positioning the region to tap into the projected $5 trillion global halal market by 2030. Nomination day for Singapore's general election 2025 took place today with 9 centres across the country opening at 10 a.m. Candidate submissions began at 11 a.m. and concluded by noon, with the final lists of eligible candidates now awaiting confirmation. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong is set to defend Marsiling UT GRC, while his deputy Gan Kim Yong leads the team in Chua Chu Kang GRC, both for seat strongholds for the ruling PAP. Over at East Coast GRC, uncertainty surrounded Deputy Prime Minister Heng Swee Keat's candidacy. Two incumbents, Dr. Muhammad Maliki Osman and Cheryl Chan, had earlier announced their retirement. The Opposition Workers' Party has yet to confirm the placement of its Secretary-General, Pritam Singh, or the Aljunied GRC team, keeping analysts on their toes. Campaigning will run for 9 days, leading up to a cooling-off day on 2nd of May, and voters head to the polls the following day. GE 2025 marks Lawrence Wong's first election as Prime Minister and PAP leader, with all 97 seats across 33 constituencies set to be contested. The Office of the Commander-in-Chief of Defence Services of Myanmar on Tuesday announced the extension of the temporary ceasefire due to the earthquake that struck the country last month has now been extended until 30th April. According to the office's statement, the ceasefire was originally in place from 2nd to 22nd April. The extension is intended to support effective and efficient rescue and resettlement operations in the earthquake-affected areas. It also aims to serve the interests of the country and its people, ensure timely relief efforts, and promote lasting peace and stability. Meanwhile, the statement stated that during the declared period of the temporary ceasefire, ethnic armed organizations and other armed groups are urged not to disrupt or attack communication routes used by the general public. They are also prohibited from causing harm to or destroy the lives and property of civilians, not to attack security personnel and their camps, not to target military headquarters. The prohibition includes not to recruit or mobilize forces that could undermine peace, and not to engage in preparations or territorial expansion. If such actions are carried out, the Myanmar Army will take the necessary response measures to protect the public. At least 20 people were feared killed after suspected militants opened fire on tourists in India's Jammu and Kashmir territory on Tuesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India called the shooting the worst against civilians in the region for years, a terror attack, and vowed to bring the perpetrators to justice. According to government officials, the attack took place in a picturesque Himalayan district of pine-covered hills and valleys. The nationalities of the victims were not immediately known. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack. Police said multiple tourists had been taken to hospital with gunshot wounds. The area has been cordoned off and soldiers are stopping vehicles at checkpoints. A joint search operation by the Indian Army and Jammu and Kashmir Police is ongoing. India and Pakistan have each laid claim to the region since war broke out following the nation's partition in 1947, and border skirmishes have long created instability. The Foreign Ministry, Wisma Putra, announced today no Malaysians have been reported affected by the attack in Pahalgam, Kashmir. In a statement, the ministry said it is closely monitoring the situation following the attack in Pahalgam on Tuesday and ensure the safety of all Malaysian nationals in the region through the High Commission of Malaysia in New Delhi. The statement reminded all Malaysian visitors in the region to remain vigilant, follow local authorities' instructions, and take necessary precautions. The Foreign Ministry will continue to provide updates as necessary and advises that all non-essential travel to this region be deferred. On a related note, the White House said on Tuesday U.S. President Donald Trump plans to speak with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to express his heartfelt condolences following the Kashmir terror attack. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said India had the full support of the United States. He added the country stands strong with India against terrorism and they pray for the souls of those lost and for the recovery of the injured.
The president has been briefed by the National Security Advisor, and he's being kept up to speed as more facts are learned. What we know already is dozens were killed and even more were injured in a brutal terrorist attack in a popular tourist location in South Kashmir. President Trump will be speaking with Prime Minister Modi as soon as he possibly can to express his heartfelt condolences for those lost. And our prayers are with those injured and our nation's support for our ally India. These types of horrific events by terrorists are why those of us who work for peace and stability in the world continue our mission.
And also, U.S. President Donald Trump admits 145% tariffs on China are sky high, but says that won't last. He claimed the U.S. was being destroyed when tariffs were at zero, accusing China of taking advantage. Trump said China was taking the U.S. for a ride, adding that it's not going to happen anymore. Still, he struck a hopeful tone, calling for strong ties with Chinese President Xi Jinping and predicting a good outcome for both sides.
145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to there. We were talking about fentanyl, where various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high.
And what level do you think it'll come down to if you have it?
It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero.
The big move came on 2nd of April when Trump signed an executive order imposing reciprocal tariffs 145% on Chinese goods entering the U.S. and 125% the other way. Experts warn this could practically shut down trade between the two world's two biggest economies. However, Trump says the numbers will come down and he believes both countries will end up happy and working together. And coming up, Musk to scale down role in Trump's government following Tesla's sales skid. Stay tuned.
In In 2025, Malaysia proudly leads the ASEAN community into a new era of unity, growth, and opportunity. Together with 10 Southeast Asian nations, Malaysia is driving progress in trade, innovation, sustainability, and tourism. Explore the best of Malaysia, from its stunning landscapes to its rich cultural heritage. Be part of global events, business summits, and exciting festivals throughout the year. Join us in 2025. Discover new connections, celebrate unity, and experience the future of Southeast Asia. ASEAN Malaysia 2025. Together, we rise.
And welcome back. Palestinian patients in Gaza are emerging as among the hardest hit victims of Israel's blockade, with critical medicine and medical supply shortages now pushing countless lives to the brink. The prolonged closure of crossings since 2nd of March has depleted hospitals of essential resources, creating life or death crisis for those requiring treatment. The health ministry in Gaza has repeatedly warned of the increasing medicine shortage crisis in Gaza, which affects their already poor capabilities in treating people. Director of the Hospital Pharmacy Department in Gaza, Ala Hiles, said more than 37% of the essential medicines and at least 59% of the medical disposables are unavailable in the ministry's medicine stores. The ministry is seeking medical alternatives to deal with the shortage and reduce complications for patients. However, such alternatives do not work in all cases, where changing the medicine in several cases may pose a risk to the patient's health. The UN on Monday marked 50 days since Israel imposed a complete blockade on humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. The head of UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, denounced on Tuesday the Israeli siege of Gaza, continuing since 2nd March, and called for the resumption of the ceasefire. UNRWA Commissioner General Philippe Lazzarini wrote on his X account stating that condemnation alone is not enough to save whatever left in the besieged territory. Lazzarini said 2 million people, in particular women and children, are undergoing collective punishment, while the wounded and sick are deprived of medical care. He added nearly 3,000 UNRWA trucks of life-saving aid and basic supplies ready to get into Gaza are expiring. Lazzarini stressed that the siege must be lifted, supplies must flow in, the hostages must be released, the ceasefire must resume. The UN on Monday marked 50 days since Israel imposed a complete blockade on humanitarian aid into Gaza Strip, warning of a rapidly deteriorating situation that is endangering the lives of civilians. Israel halted the delivery of aid to the enclave on 2nd March, hours after the end of truce deal's 42-day first phase. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, reported that some 438,000 displaced Syrians returned to their country from neighboring countries. A recent UNHCR statement detailed that the above figure was based on data collected by Syrian, Turkish, Lebanese, Jordanian, Iraqi, and Egyptian authorities between 8 December 2024 and 17 April. The return of approximately 1 million internally displaced persons to their homes was also documented, including 188,000 from refugee camps. According to the report, 33,000 families had voluntarily returned to Syria from Turkey as of 13 April. A recent survey conducted by UNHCR showed that 80% of a random sample of 4,500 Syrian refugees in Jordan, Turkey, Lebanon, Iraq, and Egypt aspire to return to their home country soon. Most want to return to their homeland but are waiting for an improvement in internal conditions to make this return possible. Over the past 13 years, Syria has witnessed the largest displacement movement in the world, with some 6 million refugees in neighboring countries such as Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan, in addition to European countries, while 7 million are displaced within the country. And in other news, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has significantly lowered its global economic growth projections, citing escalating trade conflicts and heightened policy uncertainty, according to its latest World Economic Outlook report released on Tuesday. The IMF now forecasts global growth at 2.8% for 2025, a sharp 0.5 percentage points reduction from its January estimate. The downward revision comes as the United States' announcement of sweeping reciprocal tariffs on 2nd of April pushed global tariff rates to century-high levels, creating what the report describes as, quote, a major negative shock to worldwide economic expansion. Advanced economies face particular headwinds, with collective growth expected at just 1.4% in 2025 and 1.5% in 2026. The United States saw the most dramatic revision, its 2025 outlook slashed by 0.9 points to 1.8%, due to mounting policy uncertainty, intensifying trade tensions, and softening domestic demand, while the Eurozone's projection fell 0.2 points to 0.8%. Emerging markets and developing economies, while maintaining relatively stronger growth at 3.7% this year and 3.9% for 2026, still suffered downgrades from previous estimates, the IMF attributing much of the slowdown to ripple effects from U.S. trade measures. The latest forecast for China's growth in 2025 dropped 0.6 percentage points to 4%. And back to India, its Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a working visiting trip to Saudi Arabia on Tuesday to cut short his trip following a deadly shooting attack on tourists in Indian-administered Kashmir. During the brief visit, Modi met with Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, in Jeddah. The visit, initially planned to last 2 days, was largely overshadowed by the attack in Kashmir that left at least 24 dead. Indian Foreign Ministry officials confirmed late Tuesday that Modi was returning home. The visit to Saudi Arabia came a day after Modi held high-level talks with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance in India, with New Delhi looking to seal the trade deal with Washington and stave off punishing tariffs. Saudi Arabia has been a key supplier of oil to India, the world's most populous country, for years. India's rapidly developing economy relies heavily on petroleum imports, with Saudi Arabia ranked as its third largest supplier. The Gulf Kingdom is also home to more than 2 million Indian nationals who played a pivotal role in its labour market. Two activists in Manhattan wound up on handcuffs Tuesday after they vandalized a Tesla dealership as part of an explicit Earth Day protest against the company's founder, billionaire-turned-government efficiency official Elon Musk. Activists from Extinction Rebellion NYC performed a surprise protest against Musk outside the Tesla shop, 860 Washington Street, in the afternoon. Demonstrators took spray cans and began spraying anti-Musk messages over the windows of the dealership, writing "Doge" with a cross through it. Prospective buyers and bystanders looked on with mouths agape as the demonstrators scrawled their messages in green and red spray paint. Protesters appeared to have the last laugh, however, revealing that they used non-destructive paint that could be easily washed away. Extinction Rebellion, a global environmental movement, claimed the vandalism was a necessary act to send a strong message to the Trump administration. The vandalism sought to make a statement against Musk, who President Trump appointed as leader of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to slash funding and staffing deemed wasteful at numerous government agencies. And Elon Musk will significantly scale back his Trump administration work in May to focus on Tesla. The billionaire announced Tuesday as the electric vehicle maker reported a 71% drop in first quarter profits. The comments came as Tesla reported profits of $409 million following a drop in auto sales. The company retreated from its 2025 guidance, citing unpredictability over trade policy and demand. On the positive side, Tesla said it was on track to launch new vehicles, including more affordable models, in the first half of 2025. Tesla also confirmed in a press release that a planned launch of its robo-taxi for autonomous driving in Texas remain on track by June. Musk reiterated his bullish outlook on the long-term prospects for Tesla, highlighting its leadership in key growth areas, robotics, autonomous driving, and artificial intelligence. Musk, the world's richest person, donated more than $270 million to Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. Analysts have warned of significant brand damage to Tesla from Musk's leadership role in Doge. Since Trump returned to the White House, Tesla has been targeted for consumer boycotts and vandalism, while sales have dived across many markets and prices of used Teslas have plunged.
Thank you.
Elsewhere, Kenyan police recovered 2 bodies and rescued 57 people at a church in Rongo, Migori County in western Kenya on Monday. The rescue operation was called for after a family from Nyamira County stormed the church demanding for the body of their kin who died at the church. Police officers retrieved the 2 bodies from the premises of St. Joseph Missions of Africa Church in Migori County on Monday. According to a police report, one of them, the body of a man, was found lying on the floor of a prayer room within the church compound, while fully covered in a white robe and wrapped in a grey sheet. The 57 people who were rescued looked weak and frail and were taken to a nearby hospital. However, they refused to be attended to by medical personnel and instead began to make noises and sing religious songs. Deputy County Commissioner George Matundura said, as of now, they have yet to identify what caused their deaths. He added they will have to wait for the post-mortem examination to ascertain cause of death. The rescue comes 2 years after more than 400 bodies were exhumed from the Shakahola forest in eastern Kenya. Nearly half of them children, in what was termed as one of the world's worst cult-related disasters in recent history. City tightened grip on top 5 spots after win against Villa. That and more in our sports segment. Stay tuned.
Membakar semangat juang dua pasukan. Pemburuan tahta terulung bakal dimuktamadkan dengan pertembungan 2 gergasi. Harimau Selatan kini bersedia merempuh pertahanan kebal skuad Top Gajah. Nantikan penentuannya dalam siaran langsung perlawanan akhir Unify Gala Malaysia 2024-2025. Johor Darul Takzim bertemu Sri Pahang FC 26 April 8 malam di saluran OK dan Sukan RTM. Juga penstreaman langsung di RTM Click.
The English Premier League, Matheus Nunes scored a priceless stoppage time winner as Manchester City beat top 5 rivals Aston Villa 2-1 on Tuesday to boost their bid to qualify for the Champions League. With 4 games left, City will remain at least 5th, even if 4th place Nottingham Forest, 5th place Newcastle and 6th place Chelsea each win their game in hand. Pep Guardiola's side were seconds away from a damaging draw at the Etihad Stadium after Bernardo Silva's early opener was cancelled out by Marcus Rashford's penalty. But Nunes' last-gasp strike sparked wild celebration from Guardiola and his players as they climbed to 3rd place in the Premier League. With the race for a top 5 finish approaching a tense climax, Portugal midfielder Nunes, converted to right-back lately, could not have picked a better time to net his first league goal for City. City's 15th successive home league win against Villa wasn't quite as stunning as a fight-back from 2 goals down that brought them the Premier League title on the last day of 2021-2022 season. But it could prove almost as lucrative, with a place in the Champions League now within their control. On to La Liga news. Barcelona inched closer to the La Liga title with a 1-0 win over Mallorca on Tuesday, which took them 7 points clear of Real Madrid. Spain international Dani Olmo slotted home to help Barca turn up the heat on second-place champions Madrid, who visit Getafe on Wednesday. Hansi Flick's side, aiming for a potential quadruple, outplayed the visitors but could not extend their lead at the Olympic Stadium as goalkeeper Leo Roman made save after save. Barcelona created several chances in the first half and could hardly believe the score was goalless at the break. Gavi's deflected shot hit the post, while Ferran Torres fired over after Olmo played him in. Ansu Fati also fired narrowly off target as the hosts turned the screw, and Roman saved from teenage star Lamine Yamal before Ford's shot was blocked as Mallorca rode their luck. Barcelona left the pitch frustrated but swiftly took the lead at the start of the second half, with Olmo firing home less than a minute in after a long string of passes. Barcelona have 5 games remaining in La Liga, including a mouth-watering Clásico showdown against Real Madrid on 11th May. Over in Saudi Arabia, Al Nassr left it late to beat Damak 3-2 in the Saudi Pro League on Tuesday, relying on a stoppage time goal from stand-in captain Sultan Al Ghanam to give them all 3 points. 11th place Damak opened the scoring in the first half with defender Ramzi Solan hitting home at the back post to give them an early lead. Their advantage lasted less than 10 minutes, though as Spanish centre-back Aymeric Laporte's deflected shot got Al Nassr back on level terms. Al Nassr took the lead in the second half after a smart first-time finish from Ali Al Hassan, only for Damak's Nicolae Stanciu to respond with a brilliant strike of his own. Al Ghanam, wearing the captain's armband in place of Cristiano Ronaldo, proved the hero for Al Nassr as he reacted fastest in the box to slam home a loose ball in the 94th minute. Al Nassr remained in third place on the table with 60 points, 8 points behind leaders Al Ittihad. And in tennis, 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka crashed out of the Madrid Open in the first round on Tuesday with a 6-4, 2-6, 6-4 defeat by Lucia Bronzetti. The Japanese former world #1 ranked 55th. Battled back with a strong second set after losing the first, but eventually came up short against a determined Italian opponent. Osaka, who is still finding form after a 15-month break from tennis and last played at the Miami Open in March, secured 2 break points in the 4th game of the first set, which she spurned. Bronzetti broke in the 7th and served it out before Osaka responded strongly. The 27-year-old secured 3 breaks of serve and conceded 1 to force the decider. Osaka immediately conceded a break, and despite wrestling back on serve at 3-all when she took her 5th break point of the game, was broken herself again straight away. Bronzetti triumphed when Osaka slipped as she tried to reach a cross-court shot. The Italian will face American world #5 Madison Keys in the second round. And that's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, Myanmar junta extends ceasefire until 30th April to support rescue and resettlement operations. Do join us again this evening at 8:30 p.m. for more on TV1 and Solar on Berita RTM. Alternatively, you can stream us online on RTM Click's website and mobile application. Till then, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching. Take care.